Hi, family. How are you? My lighting is terrible. Terrible, terrible, terrible. Terrible, terrible, terrible. I think, yeah. What is going on with my lighting? How about that? That's better. Lighting is terrible. Hi, everybody. It's been crazy. I've been crazy. It's been crazy. I've been very busy. Very busy. Hope you all can come in and chat. Uh, it's been crazy. It's been crazy. Mm. Hi, family. How are you? So good to see you. So good to come in the room this hour. So glad you guys are here. This has been an amazing weekend. I have been like I you guys, this energy, I don't know. I'm a Scorpio, so this energy is really challenging, but in a good way. I've been extremely busy and I can't seem to uh, get a break. But I wanted to make sure I came on. And you guys, some wonderful things are happening. I know we've been talking about this energy a lot in this last few moments of time. And it's so interesting because, like, remember I said that we're in the number 9 and this energy is all about 9. And 9 is about endings. And it's like, r- I think we're like retrospecting about things in our lives and trying to figure out like where we're going with this and what is our, let me see that, is that better? Yeah, my lighting, I don't really care. I see, I'm just shuffled because it's been crazy, but it's a good crazy. So you guys, I wanted to share with you and really give you some encouragement. I know that this has been like rather hard because we have so many energies coming in and out of our lives right now. It's like we're going through this physical shift. Let me see if I can see. Hi, Jesus. How are you? Jesus Christ. Oh, it's not Jesus. It's Jesus Christ. Okay, I thought it was Jesus. Okay, sorry. I, I exactly. So let me tell you, with all this happening and all this energy, and I'm so glad you said that because we are supported. Even though we got all this stuff going on in the world, we are definitely supported. And we are taken care of. It's nothing to worry about. But I really believe that we always look at hardship as, oh, is something dark or is it something bad? A lot of times things that happen within our lives is to help elevate us. It's literally to be able to face ourselves and really get an understanding of who we are. And if we did not have lessons in life, would we ever learn? Would we ever elevate to a greater consciousness? Would we ever like change? If you really think about it. But it's been really interesting, and let me go back to how I was saying, like the number 9 is all about, is truly all about um change. Is pulling, like, it's almost like getting an opportunity to restart your life, to look at the mistakes and the accomplishments and all of that, and pretty just like go and do an evaluation of all of that, and then the things that you were proud of, and even the things that you may have not been so proud of, at least those things got you to where you are right now. And that is the beautiful thing. And like we had talked about, is that I think a lot what we're looking at within is, how do we be our authentic self? How do we be true to ourselves, and true to our word, and true to our voice, and really speak how we truly feel? And so wonderful things are happening when you make a conscious decision that I'm going to change. I'm going to be a conscious evolution of who I am, and put your name in that blank. I'm going to be the conscious evolution of Susan, or Kathy, or Elizabeth, or Patricia, or put any name. I'm gonna be in this evolution to be my better self. And you guys, I am so amazed, because we had talked about a few months ago how this end of this reality is causing people to come back in our lives. And it's almost like a resurfacing, to for us to really look at, okay, where did we make a mistake in that situation, and where do we say, hey, that was a good decision, I'm glad I got out of that. So, like I said, that will be with friendships, that will be with family ships, that will be with relationships. You will find that these people are starting to resurface, and the reason they're resurfacing, and it could be good or bad. It don't have to be bad. Not just because people come in, people are in your life for a reason, a season, and a lifetime. I think that's how it goes. I can't remember. But one thing I wanted to share is just like, I've had several people come back. I had several people come back, and it was a test for me. It was a test to see where I was truly at. And when I began to look at it, and this is what's so crazy, when the past comes and knocks on your door, what's so beautiful about it, because you're looking at that situation with a different lens. You're not looking at it as what you used to look at it about. You're more wiser. Your heart is in another place. You have done some work. You don't need validation, because you've gained your validation by your work that you did. And so what's so interesting about that, when you start tapping into your worthiness, your worthiness to be here, your worthiness to have your own mindset, your worthiness to have, that your words have power, that your words, you can say no. You don't have to be serving everybody in the whole USA of A, right? You actually have your own mind. And when you begin to empower yourself like that, you're able to let people go and be cool with it. Be cool with it. That don't mean you dislike them. That relationship has won its phase. So it's been really interesting what I've been going through. It's almost like I'm going into different phases of my life. I'm going through different circumstances within my life. And it's almost like I'm looking at them with a new lens. And I think what happens is, when you begin to um it's actually the death card. It's like you're dying to the old self, you're dying to the old processes of self, right? Where people could just walk all over you, or they could just do whatever they wanted, or maybe you had a temper, and you couldn't control your temper. Like, it's just, so it could be a gamut of things, but now you're no longer doing those things. You have a different perspective. And when I began on this journey, I didn't realize how many flashbacks that I was going to be having. I've been having so many flashbacks. I've been having like friends call me reminiscing. I had a girlfriend call me today, and she was reminiscing about the old days, and it was fun. And I get what she said, but I am ready for a new timeline. I am ready to you know what I mean, wash my hands. And and you know, don't get me wrong, we're still going to be friends and everything, but it's so crazy because I'm no longer wanting to be back there. I no longer want to be in that timeline. And the most beautiful thing that happened with me is that as I started changing up my timeline and as I started elevating how I'm really feeling and what is really going on, like things have been happening. I can't even make it up. Like you can't make it up. You know, literally, if I got my directory of all the relationships that I've been in over the years, I could I could count on it, probably 80% have come back to revisit me during this time of ending. And I remember just tonight, I just did a text, and in this text, I'm gonna see if I still have it. In this text, I literally had to tell this gentleman who I absolutely adore. I absolutely adore him. He was a relationship that I had for a short period of time, and it was you know, it was fun. I was in one of my fun moods, and I was just hanging out with him, and it was just like, and um he did something really sweet for me a few days ago, and I was just thanking him, right? And we were talking about because at the time, you know, I was seeing him, he was you know, split up with a girlfriend, and he had a child that was involved with that. And we would have some real candid talks about it, and he had told me that he made a decision a few months ago. And see, this is what endings do. They make you reevaluate your life, and then you go back and say, what would be the best thing? And it doesn't matter what other people think. It matters what you think. It's matter what is best for you. And so he was just telling me that he decided to go back to the relationship for the love of his daughter. And I go like, you know what? Uh, That is beautiful. That is beautiful. And so you know, we had some banner, and we talked, you know, and he said that I can always be honest with you. And I go, yeah, I can always be honest with you. And it's so weird because I remember I just said, you know, I told him, I said, Brian, I love you so much. And I really did. That just because you are in a relationship, it doesn't have to be ugly, or it doesn't have to be like, I really love that guy. He is just an amazing person, right? And I remember telling him, I says, good luck. Good luck with your situation. And I'm very happy for you. I'm happy that, you know, you decided to work it out. And the beautiful thing about that is that you can do that and not feel animosity, or not feel like, actually wish somebody truly happiness, even though you're not with them. And so I said, it was so interesting because I knew once I said that last word that I was saying goodbye. So that's what endings is about. I was saying goodbye to him because he's going to move forward with his relationship with his beloved, the mother of his child. And so I thought that was just so beautiful. And then like I told you, and I don't know if I told you, like, I've had a boyfriend that has been in and out of my life for over 18 years. He is by far my best friend. He's been my best friend for decades, okay? I'm just saying, for a couple of, like, 20 years, he's been my best friend. And what is so interesting, I think like 7 or 8 years ago, he's Norwegian, and he shows up. He shows up just out of the blue. I didn't even know that he was going to show up, and he just showed up. And this is when I first moved to Texas, and he just showed up, and he was frantic. He was going through a crisis, and it was real busy for me because my kids were here. My they were having their issues. He was having his issues. And I remember, like, he asked me to marry him. And I go, I can't marry you. I'm like, what am I doing marry? I got too much stuff to I got to work, I got my kids, I got this, I got that. And that was like our relationship. Our relationship. And every time I broke up with him because I would get busy. I go, I'm tired, I can't do this long distance. I gotta go. Da, 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 da. Long story short, we have always made friends. And one thing I love about Europeans, you can date, break up with them, be married to them, divorce them, and guess what? They will always try to maintain a relationship. And if you have children, even more so. Americans can't do that. They can't seem to, like, we have rejection problems. And I think that's why I learned that from Kai, is how to be separate from somebody and still maintain a friendship. So it's so crazy because now I am at the ending of a cycle. And it was like I had decided, because I'm doing a lot of integration and I'm really looking at, and for so many years I was a single parent. I was taking care of my kids. I was so enthralled in my caring for my kids, and so enthralled in my business and life and stuff like that. I didn't have no time. I didn't have no time. And I wasn't even thinking. I wasn't even thinking of a relationship. But the most amazing thing is that as I started healing and taking care, I stopped playing the game of relationship, and I just stopped dating. I stopped dating for 2 years. And so y'all all know that I stopped dating. I did a noni fast, and now I'm just happy with being in this space. I'm just really happy. So I would hear from my ex from time to time. We never ever stopped talking because we're real good friends. So I think about a month ago, he kept telling me I made a mistake. I made a mistake. And I'm going like, what are you talking about? He goes, I broke us. And I go, what do you mean by you broke us? I had no clue what he was talking about. And so I said, what do you mean by that? He goes, well, I should have not taken no for a answer. And I go, you mean when you did that shenanigans when you came to Austin? I was like, I didn't even know. Like, it was just like, okay, okay. And so what's so interesting, and the reason I'm saying this, is that everything in my life is bringing me back to that pivotal point of, why did I have a relationship with this man, like literally over 15 years? And every time he asked me to marry him, I avoided it. And like I said, people come into your life for a reason, a season, and a lifetime. Okay? And when people come into your life for those reasons, they're there for you to mirror who you are and why you make decisions the way you make them. And I started realizing, truly started realizing that, and this is what I learned in my integration, that many of us that have been hurt deeply, we have this an avoidance energy. Like, we never really, and Scorpios are notorious. Scorpios are notorious of doing this. We never give fully, because when we are hurt, the one time that we are hurt, we will hold that in our chakras, in our soul, in our heart, and we put a protective wall around it, and we will net will not let anyone in. And it's so interesting because when I begin to understand that this is what I've been doing for years, and I'm sharing it with you guys because I'm learning so much about what an avoidance behavior is. And this whole time I'm coaching and I'm telling people that's an avoidance, that's an avoidance, but I never thought that I was avoiding. Aw, thank you. That's so sweet. You know, I didn't even know that I was avoidance, right? I had no clue. I was just protecting myself. And in that protection, I didn't even realize that I was building walls around my heart. And the reason that I had such great relationships with men is because I never allowed them to go deeper. And even when I thought I was going deep, I wasn't going deep. That's what I started realizing. And so if I felt any kind of like uncomfortability with a man, or if I felt uncomfortable with a relationship, the first thing I would do, I'd just cut them loose. That was more easier for me to do than to deal with my heart that had been abandoned when I was a young person. And I never allowed it space to heal. And so when I did that Noni fast, and I encouraged all you guys to do this with me, I did not know that I was going into the Pandora's box. I had no clue that this was going to transform my life. And so when I tell you, do you want to transform your life? You have to do a transformative change. So as I'm transforming my life, I didn't even know what to do. I didn't even know what to say. It just like I started having these exes come out of nowhere, but the exes were coming to challenge the avoidance. And so what I had to do is get perspective of why, and understanding of why I was avoiding connection. And what's so crazy, when you're in this space, you think everybody else is avoiding you. But no, you're the avoidance. You're the person that's avoiding. And so when I begin to heal, I begin to like understand. And, we're all on a healing journey. I think what happens, we have points and times in our life that we really have to break down each area of our lives and work on each area. And if you have some years on you, that means you got to do it even more and even more deeply, because the trauma is more deeper. And so I had told me, because I told myself, because we're at the end of a season, how do I want to go into the new world? How do I want to go? And I wanted to be free of all attachments, free of all silly rabbit men, you know, and I'm not saying all the ones that I was dating were silly. You know, some of them were just absolutely wonderful. But it's so crazy as I started making those decisions, people started showing up. And so what's so interesting, my relationship of 14 years, on and off again, on and off again. And what's so crazy, every ex that I had dated knew about him because he was my best friend. On and off again, on and off again. So I'm in the test of my life, you guys, right now. Because, like I said, he gave me a call 6 months ago, which we always talk, but this talk was different. This talk was very different. And he hung up. And after he hung up, he goes, "You've always been my lady." And I started thinking about that. And I go, like, how could I always be your lady when I always break up with you? So, girls, this is what I want to help you understand. A real man, a real man will see your pain, even though you're smiling and you're looking cute and you're doing all this and you're doing all that. A real man will see your pain, and he will lean into your spirit to heal you. And he will be patient with you until you heal. He will allow you space to be. He will allow you space to be. He will not be a bad steward of vulnerability. And I go, this is how you know when you have a man that's centered. This is how you know that this man is divine. Because a man that's divine will not see you in a vulnerable state and manipulate your mind, your heart, your soul, because that's already happened to you and you have already opened yourself to a vulnerability state, which closed your heart to be loved. You know, and I know sometimes y'all wonder why I say, let's do these practices. I tell you to do these practices because I've seen the results. And so I get a phone call, probably like 3 or 4 weeks ago. And he tells me, no, I'm going to come to Austin. And I'm like, oh, shoot. Oh, no. Oh, man. And like, like, I didn't know, I didn't know how I wanted to deal with this. I didn't know how I wanted to, we talk all the time. We talk all the time from a distance. We talk all the time. But now he wants to see me for real, for real. And so, you guys, this is another test. This is another test. Now, I don't know if the test is for me to sell on my heart that he's not the one, or is this the test to tell me that he's always been the one? I just needed to heal. And I don't know, like Scorpios run things through their heads, but they really don't make a decision until they get confirmation from their soul. That is how Scorpios live. And, you know, Scorpios really need to like mish things out in their brain. And then as they do that, they kind of sift it, sift all the, it's almost like flour. We'll have it in our heads and then we'll sift it as fine as we can, and then let it kind of filter into our heart and soul, and then we judge the situation. So I can't really make a decision with that now, but I'm very nervous. And I'm not nervous to see him because, you know, we've been friends for forever. We've been lovers for forever. But we haven't been together for a while. We have not been together for a very long, like, you know, I don't know. It's really hard to explain because the fact is that we talk all the time. But this is a test. I really believe it's a divine test for me. Because regardless of the decision that I make, it's the test is for me. And it's to see where I'm at. And we are all getting these times in this reality. I think we are all being challenged. You know, everybody has their challenge. Mine's just so happened to be this gentleman that I've had a relationship with for a very long time. I think everybody's different. It could be your work. It could be your environment of friends. It could be, you know, it could be your place where you live. We are all feeling this little, it's like this seed to be able to change things, because the reason we're feeling that we need to change is because we are at the end of the cycle. And it's almost like, do you want to be dancing in old clothes anymore, or do you want to just sweep them away and move forward? And that's what we're doing. We're moving forward out of an old cycle. So that's why we're feeling this like deja vu, like going back in time, feeling how can I say it? Like the past is rearing its head. But the past is rearing its head to give you an opportunity to do a reevaluation, to reevaluate your heart, to see if you are, will you have triggers that you can deal with immediately and remove them out of your life? Because we're going into a new pattern of life. And so as we go into that new pattern in life, we are manifesting a new tapestry. And in that tapestry, some of it will be some of your friends from the past or people from your past. It just depends on you. It depends on what you have done over these few years to elevate yourself and to tap into your energy to really know where you're at and how you're truly feeling. You know, it's just like I said, the gentleman, and we're dear friends to this, you know, we're dear friends, and he decided to go with his ex with that have a child. You know, no decision is wrong. You know, the decision is meant for you. The decision is meant for your choice. It's for you to elevate yourself. And so nothing's wrong with the decision you make. Just make sure that it's authentic to you. And so I'm going to do a break before I close. I want you to guys know that I am an Amazon influencer. I own a business called Hey Gorgeous You. The website is www.heygorgousyou.com. Please come along, become a member. I'm going to be doing some digital product on there eventually. I do have an extension business, but I'm trying to do something different. I'm trying to do a one-stop shop. I want everything to be on the website. And so I don't be everywhere. So I will be dropping links of my Amazon influencer because I get a commission on that. So I'm going to be dropping those in some of my links as soon as I figure that out. That's what I've been working on for the last week or so. Um, and I'm not a real good navigator with that kind of stuff, but I'm getting it. I'm getting it. And I want to thank you guys for following me. And please subscribe, like, and I look forward to growing with you guys. And I thank you guys. I'm trying to come on uh, every other night at 11. I'm trying to figure out what is the best time. I may try to do an earlier slot too. I'm not quite sure. If I'm MIA next week, that is when I have visitors. I have a lot of visitors next week. But I will try to find time. Also, I'm going to be setting up a video on Spotify. When that is produced, I will let you guys know. And thank you so much for showing up and showing out with me, and I appreciate you. Have a good night. Bye bye.